All right. Hello and welcome to the Surviving 1984 Season 1 cast assessment. So, we are all going to go through the cast list, basically say what we feel about each and every contestant this season, what our thoughts, opinions, the juicy tea, gossip, everything. And yeah, we're just basically going to go through and say what we think about each person. So, what is the order we decided to go in?
We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go in the order of the intro video. So we're gonna do the Amor tribe first, wearing red. So Billy V is first. I don't know who wants to go first.
I'll go first if nobody wants to. Billy B, I really did just.
Did she say B?
I really did say Billy B. Billy B. I really, really like Billy B. However, he can get really, really emotional in games, and I do think that that could be his downfall. But I know a lot of people get emotional in games, and they still do relatively well. So I think Billy definitely has the strategic mindset behind him. However, will he be able to move forward in a way to fully execute his plans without letting his emotions in the way? I don't know. However, I do think that Billy is a really good player. He's obviously had his experience hosting group games. He's been playing group games for a while. He's been on 10 Gauge for a minute. So he definitely knows what he's doing. So I definitely could see Billy going very, very far, especially because of Corona. And he has a bunch of free time. I could see him doing really, really well because he's able to socialize and get himself in a good spot. So I have a lot of high hope for Billy V. I hope that he can go far, and I think he's got a chance. I see him getting jury for sure.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think Billy will probably get jury. I don't know how much farther he'll make it into the game after that. But I don't think he's like a big threat in this cast. I think in other casts he might be, but with this group, we have a big bucket of threats in this game. And so I think that Billy could definitely slide under the radar and play a pretty good game. With his starting tribe, I think he does have some ends. I don't know how, I don't know. I think if his tribe can win for a little while, or if he can find an in his tribe, I think he has a good chance moving forward. So I also have high hopes for Billy. So, yeah.
I'm excited to see him play. I'm not sure. I haven't ever seen him play in games before, so I'm not sure what type of player he is. Though on the flip side of what Michael was saying about there being a lot of bigger names, there's also a lot of alum from our series. And that I feel like that could hurt him. I feel like that could hurt all of our new faces because they don't necessarily have those connections with the other people, and I think most of the tribes outnumber alum to returnees. So if the alum just clump together, that could be a big downfall for them.
With Billy specifically, I think he does have a good in with some of our alumni, as well as Jason, who is like kind of associated with alumni, because I think he would be close with Grace and with Julian, possibly Napolito, Maddie. I'm not exactly sure his relationships with them, but I know that he is associated with that group of friends. And so I think that him specifically, I think he could do well in this game with this group.
I do too.
Next up, the winner of 1984, Dead Man Walking, Caleb Reed. I'll start with Caleb. I think that Caleb has a big target on his back coming in, especially because of having Megan and Drew both in this game as well. Though Caleb also has a lot of connections in this game that don't necessarily want him to go. So it really is going to depend I don't know necessarily if it will depend on what Caleb wants to do. It'll depend on what other people want to do with Caleb. I think if Caleb is able to convince people to keep him, I think he'll go far. I don't expect Caleb to win simply because he has such a big name in 1984 now, but I think Caleb has the potential to work through that. So I don't want to count Caleb out at all because he does have a shot for sure, but I think it's going to be a hard road for him.
I'm excited for Caleb, which is, I guess, expected. But I know he was mentioning earlier, like, he does that his tribe is interesting. He thinks Nop is really shady. He thinks he hasn't talked to Maddie since season 2 when she voted him out. He's concerned about Lee being a big player, and he's never talked to Billy. So I think he does have some work to do on his tribe, but I also feel like these people don't necessarily know him super well, so they could not be threatened, or they could just take that he won and use that as reason. So I'm really interested to see how he plays. He normally plays a fairly good social game and is able to get people to do what he wants. So I'm really excited to see what he does with this.
Really quick before Blake goes, even though I don't think Caleb is going to trust Napolito a long time in this game, they talk every single day. So I think at least for while we have these tribes of 5, I think that Napolito and Caleb are going to work together. I don't know how long it'll last after that, but I do think that if Napolito and Caleb can pull in just one person, they'll be set for at least the first little part of the game.
And I can see them being able to do that. So
yeah, I'm also really, really excited to see Caleb play because obviously, you know, he's one of my faves. However, like Paige kind of mentioned, he does have a lot of work cut out for him ahead if he wants to go far. But do I think Caleb can do that? Yes, because Caleb is a huge strategist. Like Paige said, he can get in people's ears. He can get them to do what he wants. And I think that's what's good about having Napolito on the tribe. Because I'm not trying to like bring Napolito's game down or anything, but I do think Caleb knows that he can get in Nop's ear and Nop will do what he wants. I think what Caleb has working against him is that, yes, he has a lot of pregame connections. However, Caleb did screw a lot of these people over. So I do think that people could come into this saying, fool me once, shame on you. They ain't going to let Caleb fool them twice because that would be shame on them. And I don't think that I want Caleb to go super, super far, and I really would love to see it happen. I'm really hoping for a Caleb jury placement. That's what I just want him to make it to the jury because I think Caleb brings a lot of fun energy to groups and to calls and to games, and I love seeing Caleb actually play the game. And season 2 of 1984, obviously he went super early, and it sucked because I enjoy watching. Like, Caleb is just a really, really super fun person to be around. So I hope he goes far. I'm really hoping he makes the jury. But if he wants to make the jury, he has a ton of work cut out for him.
Okay, next is Lee Crimson. Who wants to go first?
I can. I'm excited to see Lee play. Personally, we've had some drama in the past, which, like, I don't even know why. So, like, that's kind of a concern for me, and my, like, thoughts of him is if he has drama with me for, like, no major reason, will he have drama with other players, randomly dislike them? Will that hurt his game? Will he be able to control it and use it for the good? But I don't know. I'm excited to see him play. He is also one who is, from what I've noticed, he thinks things through. He's a strategist as well as Caleb. So it would be really interesting to see those two team up and see the strategical things that they come up with.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you. I think Lee, I agree with you that Lee is definitely a strategist and he thinks things through. He can be that person who makes those really rational game decisions. The one thing that does worry me about Lee is that he kind of lashes out at people out of context sometimes, and that can kind of maybe turn people off. And Lee is one of, did I say Caleb to begin this?
No.
Okay, I think Lee I think Lee has the whole 10 gauge-esque org thing working against him because Lee has played a lot of 10 gauged orgs. And so people know a lot about Lee's gameplay. And from what I've seen, Lee does tend to play very similar games every time he plays. So if people have paid attention to how Lee plays in the past, they could easily find him threatening because Lee is a massive threat in the game. And I do think they would benefit from getting him out early. However, like I said, from a entertaining standpoint, I would love to see Lee and Caleb both go super far in the game. But yeah, I think also Lee has those game connections as well that other people have. So he could be seen as a threat in that way as well, and they could take him out. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how Lee plays. I'm excited to see how he does, and I guess time will tell.
So Lee played season 1 of 1924. He did really well. He got 3rd place, and he played really well there. And then he also played the Sequester mini that I hosted, and he did really well there as well. And I don't know what it is about games that I'm on production for, but Lee seems to play it differently. Like, he seems to tone down in games that I'm hosting. So hopefully he will do that here too, because I really like watching Lee play. I think if Lee can make it past the first 2 or 3 rounds, then I think that he's going to make it far. So yeah, I think he said it himself. He said, I'm either getting first boot or I'm winning. Like, I honestly feel that that's a very accurate statement. So, yeah. I lost my list. Next up, unless somebody else had something to say, next up is Maddie. I'll go first on Maddie. Maddie is my Ohio buddy. So she's probably like 40 minutes away from me. I love Maddie. She was definitely taken out a little too soon for my liking in season 2 of 1984. I think that she's the kind of person that could be an easy scapegoat for a vote, especially with the tribe she's on. I think that Napolito and Caleb could easily pull in Billy and Lee and just say, let's just do Maddie, make it an easy vote, and be done with it. But I also think Maddie seems like kind of the person that could be dragged to the end, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. But I do think Maddie could be a GOAT, and I don't know, that might work against her because people could see that as a threat because that takes up their spot in the finals. So I really think if Maddie's able to step her gameplay up, I think she could do well. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Maddie will probably make it far in this game. But if she does, I don't necessarily know what her chances of winning will be.
I think opposite. I don't think she'll make it far. I think it'll be a lot like season 2. People will just be like, well, she's kind of just there, so they'll vote her out. I also think that having Julian in the game is going to be a huge hindrance on her, because even like Sunshine, who's not from 10 gauge and everything, like, he knows about them being together, and just like I feel like pretty much everyone will know. A lot of the people are either, if they aren't from 10 gauge, they're from Julian's game, which Julian hosted, so they know about Maddie. Like, so I think that will be like a huge problem for her, and people will see her as like that person who's just kind of floating, and just get rid of her because she has a strong connection. And if they both make jury, then they're automatically pretty much going to vote for the other one.
People could definitely, like, if you're on a tribe with Maddie and you're against Julian, they could very easily, like, vote out Amber instead of Rob. Like, that's what's going to happen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot about the fact that Maddie and Julian were together. So, yeah, that does kind of change things. But I think if Julian leaves early, then I think Maddie could make it far.
I think what Maddie has worked, like, in season 2, Maddie was not the most social, and she didn't really put herself out there that much. And so I think that could work against her a lot. And I do think that Maddie is going to be one of the first couple boots if that tribe loses. I don't see her making the merge, like you guys said. Julian being in a relationship with her, that's a tick. And then her not being as social as other players, that could be another tick. And so, like, I love Maddie. I do. I think she's an awesome person, but I do not see her making it far in the game. I hope she proves me wrong, but just from the gameplay that I've seen in the past and Julian being here as well, I don't see it happening.
To add to that, we just saw her like not that long ago on Nick's game, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be more social," and then she ended up like flopping really early and not doing well. So I feel like it's gonna be like the same situation where she's like, "I'm gonna be social," and then she's not.
Yeah.
I think she does have some connections, like with Grace and Julian, and then possibly Mark, maybe. But if you look at that, like, Mark's probably, I don't want to go too much far into Mark right now, but like the people that Maddie could work with are probably getting taken out early as well. So I don't know if they'll ever have that chance to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The last person for this tribe is Napolito.
No. There's 2 different sides to Napolito's game. I think that what Napolito needs to come into this game, switching up a little bit, is the fact that sometimes he overthinks about what he's going to say before he says it, and sometimes he doesn't think at all and just spills the beans on everything. We've seen both in the past. And sometimes when people asked him questions, like last season, we saw, I can't remember if it was Drew on a confessional call with him, but they were talking about something and Napolito would pause for like 5 seconds to think about what he would say, and then he started spitting it out. And that seems a little bit orchestrated and kind of, how can I make this sound a little better? And I think that's why so many people think Napolito's shady. I think that he'll get past the first stage of this game, I think, but that Chifula group, I really don't think that they're going, like, they might be friends, but I don't know if I see them all working together. And I think out of those people, Napolito will be one of the first to get the job.
I think the Chifula group is very similar to Love Galore in games. We've talked about Love Galore in past seasons. Just for reference, Chifula includes Nick W., Caleb, Megan, Napolito, Billy, and Lauren. Am I missing anybody else? I think that's it. Lauren and Billy aren't necessarily as active within the group. Billy's more active in it than Lauren, but I think that 6 are probably going to go into this game thinking they're going to work together. But I think as soon as they have the chance, they're going to cut each other. I'm not sure who will do the first chop, but so Napolito specifically, I love Napolito. I'm very glad that we're having him back on this game. Yes, this is the 3rd season in a row that we are having Napolito, but yeah, I really like watching Napolito play. He does bring a lot to the game, but we haven't seen him go to the late game. I'm hoping that we can see him flourish in this game. I agree with Blake. I think he's going to definitely make it through the beginning part, but it will really depend on the tribe swaps, what happens with them, if he is able to make it far, like that much farther. So, yeah.
Bernop, I like him. But like Caleb was saying, he finds him shady. So I feel like even the people who know him, and like somebody was commenting who didn't know him necessarily about his Meet Me video that he was calling himself shady, like,
Right.
and they were saying that wasn't a good look. So I feel like he might be getting himself in trouble, just by like how he's presenting himself, which I think is a little bit of what happened with season 4. Like, he kind of embraced it, but it ended up backfiring on him.
Yeah.
And he went and tried too hard. He tried to change his game too much, and be just physical. So I'm hoping that we'll see a mixture from him.
Yeah,
I want to see him come. Oh, sorry.
I'm hoping that like we can see, like, I think from season 3 he was kind of underplaying what he could have done, and I think he overplayed season 4. I'm hoping he can back it up like in the middle and play the middle of what Napolito can show us, because that I think is a game worthy of the crown. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I want him to play that social game that he had in season 3, but not necessarily latch on to an ex. Not like an ex, dating wise, but like fire ex. Don't attach onto one of those people, because I want to see Nat play for himself and
I think he was able to
best forward.
before, but
Yeah,
he overdid it. Like, yeah.
I do too.
Okay. Moving on to the POW tribe wearing green. First, we have Julian. Julian was the first person to apply to this game. I think that we posted that we were going to be posting applications, and Julian was already asking about applications. I think that Julian loves playing Survivor almost more than he likes hosting it. So I think having a Survivor org by hosts that he trusts, I think he was ready to play. I'm really interested in seeing him play again. He just got to watch me play, so that was fun. But I think that Julian has a lot of connections in this game. However, his tribe right now, I think that he needs to go on an immunity run for a little while. Like, his tribe needs to go on an immunity run until a swap, or I think Julian could be looking to be in some trouble. He definitely has screwed some of these people over recently. So I don't know. I really want to see Julian do well. I'm not expecting it, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Julian can do well. I think his tribe is the type of tribe that could go on an immunity run, at least for a couple rounds.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go next page, or do you want me to go?
I can go. So yeah, Julian's like been saying that he's so excited that it's Survivor, that he does so much better in Survivor. But he didn't do awful in season 4. So I'm really interested to see. Though I think, like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of people are alum or from his game, and so I feel like either that will work for him or work against him. Like, everyone knows him, which could help him, but it could also be like everyone knows him, so they want him out. I think that having Maddie won't necessarily help either, but I guess we'll just have to see how he does.
Yeah. I definitely think that Maddie's and Julian's, like I said it with Maddie too, I think that whichever one of those two go to tribal first, that person will have a high chance of being voted out. Some people may not know about Maddie and Julian's relationship, but a lot of people do, because they've put it out in the open like quite a lot for a lot of people to know. So that automatically makes you target number one. And I've said this in so many past cast assessments when Julian's played. I think Julian's paranoia sometimes gets the best of him. When he gets really, really paranoid in games, he starts doing things that he probably shouldn't do because it makes people not trust him even more. And so if he can keep that under wraps and he can go on that immunity run like Michael was talking about, I think he could go some distance in this game. However, I do not see Julian making the merge. I would love for him to, and I would love to see him play at a merge, but I don't know if I see it happening this time around.
The next person is Justin. I love Justin. I've played an org with Justin before. I think I was actually in Justin's last org, and I was the reason that Justin got out of his last org. Justin was playing a really good game. He probably would have won if I hadn't gotten him out. But I think he's a really good player. I think that he is going to be a really under the radar good player. Like, I don't necessarily think that he'll be like invisible, but I don't think people will see him coming. I think he's a really strong player, but I think he comes off as a not so strong player, which is going to be really good for him. I think he can definitely be very social. So yeah. Fun fact though, Justin's ex is on his tribe, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Blake Murphy.
Justin is a really, really fun personality to have on a season. And so I'm really, really glad that we got to have him in the season. I haven't talked to Justin in a long time before I saw him apply. So it was really, really shocking to see Justin apply for this because I haven't seen him around. I do think he's definitely capable of playing that strategic game, getting in people's heads, getting people to do what he wants. But we've also seen that work against him in so many orgs. YouTube Survivor, he was the first boot in his first season. So it kind of depends on how Justin approaches the season and how fast he pulls the trigger and puts his foot on the throttle, because that kind of will show everybody else either how shady he's going to be or how loyal he's going to be. We've seen him play both types of games. We don't know which one he's going to play this time. So it's very, very hard to say that Justin's going to get an early boot. It's very hard to say that Justin's going to go far because we don't know how he's going to play. If I had to guess where Justin would end up being, I would probably say probably right either before merge or one of the first couple jurors.
I personally think Justin's probably getting like 5th, 6th, 7th, like that area. I think. I don't know. Justin wasn't the first boot in YouTube Survivor.
In season 2?
No, that was Connor. Connor got first boot.
Oh, Connor, yeah. Justin wasn't early boot though, wasn't he?
Justin was very inactive. He made merge, but he was very inactive and didn't do much. So, but then in YouTube Survivor 4, Second Chances, he got 6th place, but he played a really good game. So
yeah.
So I think that he'll get late pre-merge, which is not necessarily what you guys are saying, but I feel like he doesn't necessarily have the connections. He's saying that he wants to run things with Nick, but I feel like Nick might have a different opinion. And I think that is just not going to go his way. He seems like somebody who is very stubborn. And so, like, he'll get something in his mind and just stay with it. He won't want to negotiate off of it. And, yeah, I don't know.
It's very hard to read Justin because you really don't know how he's going to do because you've seen it on all ends of the spectrum.
It's been a
Yeah.
long time since we've seen him play. I see potential in him.
My only interactions with him have been Big Brother, though. I played Super Big Brother with him, and so
And then didn't we play Stars with him?
I think so.
I think we did our last Stars, and that's when I kind of
Yeah,
reconnected with him. So
Yeah.
yeah.
okay, next is the 10 gauge queen, other than Paige, of course. Lauren, Thumper 91 on 10 gauge. That's what she always says.
Thumper 91.
So I love Lauren. I think that Lauren is going to make Final Tribal Council. I do not think that Lauren's going to win unless there's a bitter jury. Lauren could also be taken out early pre-merge. I think it's going to be one of the two spectrums for Lauren. I really want to see her make Final Tribal Council. I'm not sure if she will. I think if she makes merge, I think she makes Final Tribal Council. So I think Lauren's a very social player, not necessarily a good physical player, but I don't know. I think she'll definitely make it far, but I don't think she'll make any big moves in the game that people want to award her a win.
And I think it's like it's so naturally easy to get along with Lauren.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that that's definitely a good thing into the social game category that will work well for her, because she is always getting all these people to want to either keep her in the game or want to work with her. However, Lauren is not the type of player who will load the gun and fire. She is the one who will kind of just sit behind the person who is the shot taker, and she will just follow along. I want to see Lauren step up and say, listen, I am taking this person out of this game and I'm going to work for this to happen. But do I see that happening? From what we've seen from her in the past, I don't. Would I love to see it happen? Absolutely. I want her to become more of a strategic player and show that kind of side of her game, because all of us have seen the social side, and I think everybody on 10 gauge knows she has a social side and everybody loves her. I do think she will get decently far in this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if she gets right where her old placement was last season, because people don't want to take her to the end. She's too likable.
I feel like I don't see her making Final Tribal Council. I feel like she could be an early boot like she was in season 3, or she could manage her way to getting like 5th through 7th. But I feel like they won't necessarily want to take her because, like you guys were saying, everyone likes her. So they could see that as a threat in the end of why not to take her. But yeah, I don't know.
She could be somebody that's like a late merge boot that like people are like, oh crap, Lauren's still here. Like we've got to get rid of her before she wins it all. So
like she's definitely one of those players who do fade back into the background, but she's not invisible. And so people don't really look at her as a target until that late stage of the game, or unless season 3, I think Lauren was taken out because of like a personal vendetta that Bria had against Lauren.
Yeah.
Or like Bria was not a big fan of Lauren. So I think that if like, since you're going in here and Bria's not here, I think that Lauren's going to go decently far, I feel. But like I said, I don't see her making the end. She's just too likable, and nobody's going to want to sit next to that in the end. I know I would not want to sit next to a super likable person. Ask Michael Davis.
Yeah. Okay, Sanctuary 4.0. Okay. Next, our vested interest, Nick W. So I'll go first on Nick, and Blake can go last because, yeah. So Nick, I love you, Nick, but I don't think you can win this game. I think that you played too hard. I think that I think you are too loud. I think if you tone it down at the beginning of the game, you can definitely have a better shot. I noticed on the All Seeing Eye, there's just little comments throughout like the episodes and everything that it's just you're bringing attention to yourself that doesn't need to be there, and I think that you do that a lot. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that puts a target on you. So yeah, I feel like you definitely have a good shot at making it decently far, but Nick tends to put a target on themselves that screws himself over. And I don't know. I don't see Nick making it very far in this game. I think they have too big of a target going in. Yeah, I feel like they definitely will make it past this first group, like the first stage of the game, because obviously Justin wants to work with them, even though Nick and Justin apparently worked together before. I think Nick has an in with Lauren. I think Nick might be able. I think Nick and Julian maybe. I don't know if they'll work together. And I don't know. So I feel like Nick has a good shot, but I'm not sure. Nick's very likely not winning this game, which it makes me sad to say that because I really do love Nick, but yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. I think Nick won't go very far. I think they'll probably end up getting probably right around that early jury, late pre-jury section. I think that they might be one of the first ones that Chick Fulu turns on. And in the past, they've created unnecessary drama. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them having their ex on their tribe.
All right, so I'm gonna try to remain as what's it called when you're not trying to be like what biased?
Unbiased?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Okay, that's the word I was looking for. I'm gonna try to remain unbiased about this, for obvious reasons. So obviously, I really do love Nick. However, I have told them so many times that they do not think before they speak in a lot of different situations in these games, and that's what puts the target on their back. They need to start thinking before they say anything, because the littlest, tiniest thing can put the biggest, massivest target. That was a tongue twister. Target on your back. And like Paige said, sometimes there is unnecessary drama that is caused, and that just puts another arrow onto that giant target that's created. And I think if they can just tone that down and start focusing on building connections, building relationships, not worrying about drama, focusing on their own game, maybe not being so loud and over the top, like in group calls and saying stuff that just doesn't need to be said, then they could go far. However, I do think that Nick might be, like Paige said, either late pre-jury or early jury. I would love to see Nick go further, but the gameplay would just need a switch and just need to tone it down a little bit in order for that to happen, I think.
Okay. Next up, one of our non-teenagers, Sunshine. So Sunshine, I think, has too big of a personality for this game. I don't know. I feel like Sunshine will have a good shot making it to merge, but I could see Sunshine being that like one of the first jurors, because I think Sunshine is going to be that person that wins a lot of immunities, and as soon as he doesn't win one, they're gonna cut him. I think his personality is way too big. And I think a lot of people are going to realize that really early. So yeah, I'm happy that we are finally getting some non-10-gagers because it's been a struggle for 1984. But I'm very excited to have Sunshine. I think that it might be a struggle for him because I don't know if he's going to have these connections like all these other people do. But we saw in season 3 of 1984, Bria was the person with the least connections, and she ended up winning the game. So it's definitely very possible to win this game without any connections. So I don't know. I have high hopes for Sunshine, but I think that he will have to tone his personality down if he wants to make it far, and I don't know if I expect that to happen.
Did you want to go or do you want me to go?
I can go. So I don't really know a ton about Sunshine, but it seems like he is very like you've said, big personality, and that he's loud, and just that he does seem to have some connections. It didn't necessarily sound the most positive. He doesn't like that group of like 10-gagers, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with it.
He seems familiar with like Julian and Grace and Maddie.
Did he play Julian's game?
No.
I don't think he has. But Julian, Grace, and Maddie are. I know Maddie's taken place in a couple Facebook orgs. Grace and Julian have taken a part in a good portion. So I think that's how they know each other, since Sunshine comes from the Facebook community.
Yeah. Okay.
Were you done? Sorry. Okay. I absolutely love and adore Sunshine. I was spamming out all these Facebook groups, and I get a message from Sunshine saying, "Hey, what's this game that you're spreading around?" And that was the least person I expected to ever sign up for this, and I was so happy when I saw that he did, because you guys really don't understand. Steven is a mastermind. He can get in your head, flip your plans upside down, and get you to believe that it was your own plan by the end of it. Like, he is really good in the strategic aspect of this game. He's also really good in the social aspect of this game. And I think I told Michael the other day, I think somebody like Aloran is somebody who he's going to scoop up right away, and somebody he can use to his benefit. And him coming in without those connections, I think, is actually going to be a benefit for him, because a lot of these people have past beef or past that is not necessarily the best. And if the lions are eating the lions, Sunshine can sit back and just watch, and that might be beneficial for him as well. However, if he does come in and play too strategically right off the bat, or if he has that super, super over the top personality, which I think this whole tribe actually has pretty big personalities.
I'm so excited to see that tribe lose. Like, that's so
going to be a good tribal council. Yeah. I think this whole tribe has over-the-top personalities, so I don't necessarily think that it would bite Sunshine right away to have an over-the-top personality. But if they do get further down along in the game, and people like Maddie, people like Julian, people like, all these people who don't necessarily have the biggest, like, outrageous personalities, I think that might rub them the wrong way, and that could make Sunshine's game come to an end. But I have a lot of faith in Sunshine. I think he's going to go far, and I really think he stands a shot at winning this game.
Okay. Next, we're going to the Verita tribe wearing yellow. We're halfway through, you guys. First up is Billy S. So we have seen Billy play 1984 2 times now. He got first juror both times. I would not be surprised if we see Billy get first juror yet again for a third time. I think that that's probably about when he's going to leave. He wants to have a hero edit this time. I really hope that he can. if he keeps his mouth shut and he doesn't go psycho on anybody, I think he could. I think he could make it far in this game. I think he has a good shot with the tribe he has. I think he has an in with Drew, an in with Grace, possibly an in with Jason, possibly an in with Josh. So like he has a good shot of making it through the first stage of the game. I think he does have a big personality, so he's going to have to tone it down. And if he does not, that could bite him. I don't know. I feel like there are so many big personalities in this game that Billy's big personality might be overlooked, but I could also see Billy's personality being the one that shines through the rest of them. So, yeah. Honestly, if I had to predict Billy's placement, it would be for sure.
I've really come to love Billy as a person. I think it takes a lot for somebody at first to get used to Billy's personality, because it is really in your face, and it takes a lot of getting used to. But once you get used to that, I think Billy is truly a really loving human being. However, I think the thing with Billy is that he does come in being really, really cocky and sometimes arrogant, and that can rub people the wrong way. And like I've said this in every single cast assessment about Billy, he plays the same game every time he comes into a game, in my opinion, from what we've seen in the past. He plays very, very similarly. And that is that he attaches to that female player that he can relate to, and he will start throwing competitions, flying under the radar for a while, but he'll still be cocky, saying he's one of the best players there. So I think that he needs to kind of change up his gameplay a little bit and maybe focus more on social connections and bonding with more people rather than just having your number one there that you want to attach to for the long haul. I think he needs to build all those connections that are needed, all those relationships that will get him to the end of the game and possibly win. Also, Billy's blonde hair, I'm kind of here for it. I really like it. See, oh, sorry.
Go.
I think if Billy doesn't change up his gameplay, I think he'll be the first person that Chifula cuts. And I think he'll be definitely like early pre-jury.
I think Billy is easily the first person.
Yeah.
So I don't think he will necessarily be the first Chifulu member to go, but I feel like he'll be the first one that they turn on themselves. Especially with his relationship with Megan, they seem to always just butt heads, especially after season 4, and just will be after each other. I see Nick going before Billy, but I see Billy being first juror again. And I see his relationship with Megan come merge, that they'll just butt heads and make everyone choose a side, and he'll have less people on his side. I really hope that he does not throw challenges like he did in 1984 Big Brothers, because I really would like to see what he can do when he actually tries.
In Only One Left, Billy went on a big run, and so he definitely is very capable of winning challenges. Challenges obviously are different game to game, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I definitely think Billy has a big potential in this game, but I think he needs to socially insert himself into alliances. That way he doesn't have to win immunity, because if he has to win immunity, he's going to have too much pressure on him. And I don't know if he will be able to handle that pressure that long. Like if he starts out the merge needing to win every single immunity, like you can't win 10 immunities. So, yeah. Okay. Next we have Drew. I love Drew. I feel like this is going to be Drew's chance for redemption from season 4. I think that Drew is coming in hot. I think that he definitely is going to want to prove himself in this game. I don't know if he's actually going to end up working with Megan and Caleb or not. They did kind of end up working together and only one left. I don't know what's gonna come from that, especially with Chafula. I think that some of Chafula might attach themselves to Drew to take out other members of Chafula. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew ends up getting a pre-merge spot, though. I think that people might see his connection with Megan and Caleb, and if they can't get Megan or Caleb, they might go for Drew. Even if Drew's not actually working with Megan or Caleb, I think people are going to think that he will, and so they might go for him because of that. So I really want Drew to do well. I'm not necessarily expecting
it. Okay. See, I do agree with you that Drew could be the target if people do connect that threesome back together again. However, I am calling it right now. Drew is going to win this season, and I feel
so bad. I want him to so bad.
I feel strongly on that. I think Drew definitely has the social skills. Drew has the strategic skills when he needs to have them. And Drew is definitely not horrible in challenges. So I think that he definitely is that triple threat that not necessarily everybody will see coming.
That's what you said.
He does know when to turn on people. He does know when to pull the trigger. And he did that to Napolito last season. When he was ready, he used Napolito for as long as possible until he literally just disposed of Nap.
He also was able to do that with Caleb and Megan, though. So yeah. So that's where it's tough.
I feel like Drew will turn on Megan and Caleb this time. I don't see Drew working with Megan and Caleb the full way.
I think he knows the mistake he made before. I think he knows.
And he knows the jury kind of saw him as kind of the lowest of those three gameplay wise. And I think he knows that he can't play that same game if he wants to win in the end. And I want to see Drew. I don't want to see it, but I do want to see it. I want to see Drew go after Megan and Caleb. I want to see that happen. I want that. I want a war between them. I want to see a different dynamic this season. I'm not sure if we're going to get that different dynamic or if it's going to go in the same direction. I don't think it's going to go in the same direction because it would be too obvious. But I would love to see them go at each other and see who ends up coming out victorious in the end.
Let's get the Bussy Boys back together.
Not the Bussy Boys.
Yeah. So I really did not necessarily want all three of them in this cast because they did all work super close together last time. So I'm hoping that they won't necessarily work together this time so we can see more of individual games from them and see what all they're capable of, not lumped together. I think, like you guys were saying, that he will pull in, I feel like I could see him pulling in, Billy and Lauren and chopping off, Megan or Caleb from Chick-Fulu.
Chick-Fulu.
I had trouble saying it first, too, so it's okay.
Words are hard. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how he does. I know he did disappear for a while after in between the games, so people might feel like their relationships with him are hurting because he disappeared and didn't talk. But it could also give him fresh eyes for talking to everyone.
Okay. Next up is Grace. Hey, production Chin Moon Bez. So I love Grace. I really don't know how she's gonna do, honestly. I think we could see Grace at any point in this game. I think she is a physical player, but she doesn't ever close on the challenges. Like, she does really good, but she never wins it. So I think that that's going to be a struggle for her, is winning the individual immunities that she's going to end up needing, because as we said with Lauren, Grace is a very social player and nobody's going to want to sit with that in the end. And so they're going to try to take her out. And so she's going to need to close on these challenges near the end, or she's not going to be able to go far. I really want to say that I think Grace could make it to the end. I don't know. I feel like Grace, as I said with Lauren, I think Grace could make it to Final Tribal Council, but then not win, because people will see her either as a GOAT or as someone who just didn't do enough to win the game. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Grace and Lauren are very similar players, and so a lot of the stuff I said for Grace or for Lauren can work with Grace too. So
I think, like you were saying, they're similar, but I think Lauren is much more of like individual, whereas Grace is like, let it be known I'm Grace.
yeah.
Like, she's very high energy, and which is not a bad thing. Like, sometimes she seems like somebody who would message people first, and like, whereas I feel like Lauren might wait for people to message her. So I feel like that's gonna be like the big difference that we see between the two of them. I hope that Grace goes far because she is entertaining. And yeah.
I also think that Grace is definitely entertaining and she brings a fun energy. However, I think that we see the same game coming from Grace every time as well, where she's just the social one. She kind of sits back and she lets all the other players do everything. I want to see Grace take the bull by the horns and make those big strategic moves. I want the strategic Grace to come out, and I want her to try to play that side of the game, because she's played this social side and this friendly side for every single game she's been in, and I really haven't seen her get further than like 7th place between Facebook orgs and here. So I think that she definitely needs to put an extra like aspect of the game into that gameplay in order for her to get a step further. And maybe if she was a little bit more strategic and wanted to be included in some of those game decisions and actually was the driver of that decision, then I think maybe she does stand that chance at winning the game. However, like Michael said, if she gets to the end, that's going to be her main issue, is that people won't necessarily see what she did, and they're going to think that she just kind of coasted her way to the end. So I hope she definitely pulls the trigger on some of those big game moves, and we can see a different side of Grace's gameplay.
I think I did hear that Grace did make finals in a game recently. I don't know how that went though, so I don't know. I don't know if she won or if she got 0 votes. Like, I really have no clue. So she is capable of making finals. I don't know the context of the game to be able to say much about it though. So.
Oh, that challenge game she got to the finals, but I guess it wasn't necessarily.
Yeah, that's different. It's definitely different. So.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite, Jason. He is next. I have been wanting to host Jason for a long time. He is an original production member from 1984. I don't think that gives him any advantage at all, because for one, he wasn't that active anyway in production. But yeah, I think that Jason is the type of player, like, he is so under the radar that he will come in and he'll strike and you won't even know it until you're gone. And like half the time you won't even know that it was Jason that was the one that did it to you. So I think that he is a very good and underrated player. So I think if he's able to make connections in this game, which I think he will be able to do, I think he'll have a good shot. He definitely will connect with Grace. They already have some kind of relationship before this game. I don't know who else he'll try to work with on his original tribe, but I feel like he has a really good shot at this game. I think he could be the person like we saw in Wannabes, his other Survivor org. He was cut right before the final tribal council. I think that could be where we see Jason get cut because people might realize what he's been doing. We'll have to see. I have very high hopes for Jason. And that's not even like a biased opinion. Like I really think that Jason is a really good game player, and I think that he has a really good shot of winning this game.
I definitely agree with everything you just said. Jason is one of the most under the radar players that I've ever played with, but he has so much say and so much swing under that radar that I've never seen anybody else play that game before. And I really enjoy watching it because I think I've truly never seen somebody have as much say and as much power when they're not recognized for it. And that's something that Jason really, really has working in his favor. I do also think that Jason is going to go the long haul in this game. I'm not sure if they're going to let him get to finals, but I could see him getting 4th, 5th, 6th in that area. But I do think he's going to make the 4th quarter of this game for sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Jason play. I don't know him that well, but he seems very excited. He seems to have wanted to be playing, but he's afraid for the 1984 Big Brother because he was production and that he would get voted off. I think we could see a lot from him. I know he wants to work with the younger group. He wanted to make a kindergarten alliance, and he said it's going to be him and Mark.
3 other people or 2 other people that are underage. So his options aren't looking very good.
It's him, Mark, and is it Billy V?
Nick. Yes.
Oh.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I am excited to see what he does.
Definitely.
Okay. Next is Josh. I feel like Josh will be a very under the radar player as well. I can see Josh playing similar to how Jonah played season 3 of 1984. I think Josh is going to surprise us. I think he's a very quiet person. I don't think he's going to be the type of person to openly be running the game, but I think he's going to be one of those people that behind the scenes, he's definitely going to be running some stuff. I hope that him and Jason work together because I think that's the duo that would really rock this game. I could see Josh pulling this game out, honestly. I don't know. I really don't know much about him other than his video. But yeah, I know he's friends with Tim, who I just played Trinity with. If he plays anywhere like Tim does, Tim's pretty shady, so I don't know. But but yeah, so I have very high hopes for Josh. Yeah, and I don't know if I would have necessarily said this a couple days ago, but I definitely, after watching Josh's video and all that kind of stuff, I have high hopes for him.
Josh is definitely very quiet, but in a way that still makes you really like him. Like, it's kind of hard to explain because he is not that big over the top personality, like in calls and stuff, but he will be social to you behind the scenes. And he definitely knows what's going on. He's a very, very smart game player. And I definitely think that will definitely work in his benefit moving through this game. I would also like to see him and Jason get together and see what they can do. I've never seen two under the radar players work together and try to mastermind the game under that radar, but I would love to see it for the first time and see how it ends up working out for them. Yeah, I think Josh is very quiet, but Josh is very smart. So I think that he could go very, very far in this game.
I don't really know Josh or know much about him, so I don't have much to say. He's a big wild card for me, but I feel like with having Billy and Grace, he's gonna float under the radar of that tribe.
Oh my goodness, a trio of Josh, Jason, and Drew right there. That would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. The final tribe, Molt, wearing blue. First up is my birthday buddy, AJ. I am so happy that we got AJ. AJ hasn't been on TechAge for a little while. I guess he just got fired from his job, so he has a little bit of time on his hands now. I think he did get hired somewhere, but still.
Yeah, he was saying that he was starting a new job.
Yeah, so I love AJ. When I played with AJ, he won the game. So I know he has the potential. He is a very smart player. He's a very social player. I think he definitely already is making relationships on his tribe, specifically with Megan. I think that he has a good shot. I think that tribe specifically, I think AJ, Gwen, and Megan will probably link up and they'll take out Mark and then Nick if they would need to take two people out. So I think that AJ, I definitely think AJ is going to make it past the beginning portion of the game. I think AJ is probably going to end up being the swing of that tribe, to be honest. I think Gwen and Megan are going to be on one side, Mark and possibly Nick would be on the other side, and then AJ would decide, unless Nick decides to just give up on Mark. But yeah, I think AJ has a very good shot at winning this game. I have very high hopes for him. So yeah, I love AJ.
AJ, I've seen him around, and I think he normally does fairly well in games. And like you said, him and Megan seem to be hitting it off well so far. So I could see them working together, and Megan is also talking with Nick, I think it is. So I could see her trying to bring those two together and making a 3.
Yeah.
AJ is honestly one of the smartest players I think I've ever seen. And he's very, very well calculated as well. He thinks about everything before he acts, before he executes a certain plan. He makes sure to have A, B, C, and what we would do after. I played Trinity Twilight Town, so Gen 1 of Trinity with AJ. Yeah, and I had to idle AJ out because he had so many strong connections and nobody wanted him out. And that's where "That's how we do it, baby" originated from. So yeah, AJ is very, very social. AJ gets you to want to work with him. And it's like, we talk about the Dan Giesling mist, but in this game, I think we're going to be dealing with the AJ mist, and everybody's going to be taking a sniff of it because AJ can pull one over on you so easily. And I think he has a very strong chance at going super far. He's a very, very smart player.
Okay. Has Paige talked about AJ? Am I late?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next up, our other non-Tengager, Gwen. I love Gwen. I just finished playing Trinity Survivor with her. So Gwen's in a lot of games, so I'm hoping that she doesn't like overbook herself. But I have high hopes for Gwen. I think she's also a very social player. I think she's similar to Grace and Lauren, but I feel like Gwen would have a better shot of pulling it out at the end than Lauren or Grace would. So I'm very excited to see Gwen play. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about her. She played a really strong game in Trinity. I think that had she won immunity instead of myself, the round I won immunity, I think she probably would have gone farther. So yeah, I think she has a really good shot at this game.
I honestly don't know what to think about Gwen because, like you said, she is in a lot of games, and I'm in the All Seeing Eye with her right now. So I've been trying to talk to her, but you don't always get a response back. So I'm not sure how she's like. I have no idea what to expect from Gwen because I think it could be anywhere on the spectrum from being a first boot to being an end gamer. I think that her and Megan might work together. I could see her and AJ working together, to be honest. But yeah, I have high hopes for her. I hope she can go decently far in the game and hopefully pull out some moves to put on her resume if she does make it there. But I have honestly no idea what to expect from Gwen. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what she does.
I'm really excited for Gwen. Just from being in her production chat, like she seems super excited, and just but you guys are mentioning that she's in other games. I hope that she doesn't let that come in the way of how she does. And I hope that she will be able to make connections and make it at least to jury.
Okay. Next is Mark. I don't have very high hopes for Mark. I think that a lot of people find him very immature and young and maybe annoying. So we'll have to see how Mark does. He talks a big game in his video, so I'm hoping that he can surprise us. I know in YouTube Survivor he made it pretty far. I don't know. I don't know if Mark's necessarily the type of person that people will respect at the end. So he could end up being somebody that is dragged to the end. But I think he also could be a very easy first boot if his tribe loses.
I think that I would compare Mark to a fish out of water because he is one of the biggest floppers, and he flops again. And it's like that strategy over and over again where you're always trying to flip on somebody, it does not work out well. And that's why he goes so early so many of these games, because he's always trying to flip on somebody. And if you're gonna have an alliance, you need to stick to it because at least stick to it for a while because numbers are everything in the game. If you just want to work with somebody and then flip on them right away, that's a way to show that you are shady. And like Michael said, I don't think he's necessarily the most mature person in this cast, but if he actually can stay loyal for more than a round to somebody and actually have someone's back, let them have his back, I think he could make it decently far. But if he wants to play the same game where he just flips and flops and flips and flops again, I think he's going to be one of the first to go.
I think I haven't interacted with Mark lately, but I know he was always like, I don't know if looked down on is the right word, but people would take him out because of his age and how he acted. Just the maturity wasn't there. So I'm hoping that was a couple years ago. So I'm hoping maturity has grown in him and that we don't see him necessarily flopping and just turning everyone against him. And yeah. but I see him going pre-jury.
Okay. Next is Megan. I think that Megan has a very big target on her back going into this game, but I think Megan is also a very smart player, and she knows how to work around that type of thing. So I really could see Megan in any placement. I could see them trying to give her first boot. I could see them taking her out pre-merge. I could see them taking her out early jury, mid-jury. I could see her making it to the end. I could see her winning. Like, it really depends. I think that Megan needs to take a step back and think about how she talks to people. I think that her reactions to things need to be fixed. I think she's very aware of this because of 1984 Dead Man Walking. So I think if she takes a step back and thinks about what she says before she says it, I think Megan has a really good shot at this game. I want to see her do really well because I really do love and adore Megan. So
I think that coming into this game, Megan definitely has that huge target, like you said, on her back already. And she reminds me of Michaela Bradshaw in a way that she always wears her emotions on her face. So you can tell how Megan's feeling. If she's annoyed, you'll know. If she's mad, you'll know. If she's happy, you'll know. Like, it's very easy to tell what mood or how Megan feels about something because, like, her facial expressions tell it all. So she needs to work on kind of toning that down and not being so in your face about certain things when she talks to people, kind of like Michael said. If she can fix that, I think she'll be fine. However, I don't know if I see her getting super far in this game. I think she's going to be a pre-jury placement. That's my personal preference, but I could be wrong.
I can also see pre-jury for her. Yeah, I just feel like right now I think she's okay set up with AJ, but I think once they tribe swap, she'll probably be an early target of the tribe swap tribe. And I think that she'll end up struggling because of that, and just won't be able to find good connections with having to change who she can talk to every couple days.
I think that the tribe Megan's on right now doesn't really know her potential. I think Nick does, but that's it. And I don't think Nick really has any plans of taking Megan out right now. So I think Nick is kind of focusing on saving Nick. So I really do feel like Megan's gonna at least make it past the first part of the game. But okay, and lastly, as I just mentioned, Nick. So Nick S, not Nikki 333. I think Nick has a good shot at this game. I think he definitely made it really far in season 4. I think he had one little screw up that cost him the game. I think that he has a good shot at making it far in this game. I don't necessarily know if he would win in the end or not. I have high hopes for Nick. I think that Nick will probably make merge, but I don't know how far into merge he'll get.
I'm really hoping that we see his last 1984 performance rather than his season 1. He did really well. I think if he gets a chance, he'll hook up with Julian again. And
he took Julian out.
But they did work for a while together. But yeah, I feel like he's definitely more of a physical threat than I would have thought. And I feel like people will underestimate him and then he'll surprise them.
Him and Caleb are close. A lot closer than I think people realize. Caleb had told me that I think Nick had said something to Caleb about a flying or something.
Yeah, Caleb mentioned that.
And so I think that Caleb might pull in Nick and work with Nick rather than working with Chifula. Like I could definitely see like Caleb, Gwen, and Nick coming together and being like the new power of 3, like because Caleb loves and adores Gwen already, and Caleb loves and adores Nick, and so I could see Caleb trying to do something like that, and that would very much benefit Nick.
Yeah. I definitely have high hopes for Nick. I just don't want him to do something reckless like he did like he did last season, because that kind of ruined his game, obviously. And so I loved how he played basically the middle the whole game, and nobody targeted him for it until that final 5. It was final 5, right? Yeah. No, final 6
with the double.
Yeah. And nobody targeted him for the longest time, and he was playing the middle the entire time. So I really do think that that was a really good strategy for him to take. However, I say this time after time again, the people who do play the middle always get ran over. It happens to everybody who does it. So I hope this time he can go in and have a solid alliance, and we can see him go decently far.
Okay, so that's about it. But do we want to talk about who we think might be first boot and who we think might be the winner? You guys have like first boot prediction or anything? I have mine if you guys want to think about it. Mine I think is between 2 people. Let me look and see the tribes really quick again, so I can kind of decide which one I think would lose the first challenge. Let's see. I think for first boots, I think I'm gonna go with Maddie. I think I was between 2 people, but I think that Maddie's tribe is less likely to win the first challenge, and so my first boot prediction is going to be Maddie, which I don't want it to happen, but it probably will.
I think red or yellow are going to lose this specific challenge. So with that being said, I think that we could see Billy and Lee are not the best of friends, so I think one of them could definitely go first. However, I do think I would agree that if that tribe loses, we could easily see Maddie leave first. As for yellow, if they lose, I think Billy could get the boot, and is most likely to get the boot. So I think my first boot prediction is between Billy S and Maddie.
I guess I'll just say my other one really quick. My other one would have been Mark. I think that Mark is a very likely first boot as well.
Go away, Michael.
I just stole your thunder.
You cut me off and then took what I was gonna say. Go away.
Say it. Say it anyway.
No, you took it.
Paige's first boot prediction is Mark.
What do we think about Green Tribe if Green Tribe loses? That I want Green Tribe to lose because I want to see what would happen.
If the Green Tribe loses,
I think Julian.
I think Julian.
I think Julian or Justin.
Yeah, I really think Julian, and I would hate to see Julian be the first boot of 2 of our orgs, but yeah. Okay, winner predictions. Do you want to? Paige, why don't you go first, since I don't want to steal your thunder.
Who do I think will win? I think Jason has a good shot, but I know that's one of who you might say.
I'm narrowing one person, and I'm gonna put my eggs in that basket, at least in this video.
I always have to support Caleb, so either Jason or Caleb.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna put my eggs in the Drew basket. I think that he definitely has a lot of work to do if he wants to keep that target off his back from the power of 3, but he definitely has that triple threat level, and capability of winning the game. So I'm going to say Drew.
Blake, why don't you say one more, because then I can say two.
Sunshine?
Okay. My two are going to be Josh and AJ. I think those two, yeah, that's who I think. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. I'm very excited for this season. I think there is a lot of pre-game connections, but I don't think that they will necessarily benefit.
There's so
anything in the
many.
game. All right, so I guess we'll have to see where this season takes us. I think we're gonna introduce the immunity challenge, or at least tell them it's semi-live pretty quick here. So I'm excited to see where this season takes us.
Okay.